What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Jeremiah Zen here with Gordo the Barber, featuring the Chosen Collective, El Chosen Colectivo, the Chosen Podcast. Here we got an exclusive YouTube video, a video I've been wanting to do for a long time. One of these YouTube videos, is one of those that you sit on and you really try to plan out and see how it's gonna go. But here I got Gordo the Barber, owner of Official Studio. How you doing, Gordo?
I'm doing good. What's up, guys?
What up? So here today I want to dive into some, chill barber talk conversations, and I was thinking about patience, and lately that's been on my mind lately. But to you, Gordo, as a business owner, what is patience to you?
I feel like patience has a lot to do with a business owner. A lot of the times, I think being a business owner, it takes a lot of patience. A lot of things you got to deal with. A lot of different personalities you got to deal with.
Right.
So it did take me quite a long time to figure out how to deal with so many people and to figure out the patience I need to be able to deal with so many different personalities and different people every single day of my life. Not just in the business aspect, but as a individual in society.
Absolutely. That's I couldn't imagine, really. You got like what? How many barbers do you have in here?
There's 4 barbers and a tattoo artist.
Wow. That takes a lot. That's something I'm learning right now, especially maintaining money, really, finances. When it comes down to maintaining all this finance, what are like a couple key things that work for you in just financial responsibility?
I feel as a barber, it's fast money. You get money every day, right? So you have to figure out, a lot of things is, the faster the money that you get, the quicker it goes. There's a saying like that, right? So you have to be able to put your finances and your shop, your house, your cars, anything that has to be financially stable every month, that has to come first. So in a way, it's, you have to make some sacrifices along the ways to be able to support your business and to be able to support your lifestyle as well.
For sure. It comes down to separating your wants from your needs, no?
Yeah. So there's a lot of want, right? Especially if you're getting money and you're getting fast money like that, and like in the barber industry, it's a lot of fast money. And if you don't know how to be responsible for your money, it will fly. You won't see it, You can say, in your taxes or in your bank account, you're saying your business made $100K, right? But then you have $3,000 from your lease that you got to pay from the barbershop. Then you have another $1,000 or $2,000 for your house. And then you have your car payment, then you have your cars, and then you have everything that includes all the bills, includes, all the products that you sell, if you got to buy new clippers or if you got to buy new shirts for the shop, internet, everything. It's a lot. Being an entrepreneur is a lot of work. So you got to be real responsible financially, and be able to work with people and have the right team behind you to be able to have a successful business.
Absolutely. Entonces, how long have you been a barber?
I've been a barber for almost 16 years now.
16 years?
Yeah.
And you've had moments where you're like, damn, like, do I want to keep doing this? Or have you been like steady maintaining positivity or your attitude about barbering?
No, I've definitely have had moments, especially in the beginning years of barbering. It's not like nowadays where barbers are charging 40, 50, 60, 70, even $100 a haircut. Back then, I started charging at a salon $10 a haircut.
$10?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
$10 a haircut to do the same thing that I'm doing for you. So, having a kid at 17 and trying to keep myself away from the bad path I was going, it was definitely tough times. It was definitely a tough time to try to just be a barber alone. But if, it's a thing that I always say, if you want it bad enough, you got to make those steps to get it.
Right. was barbering your only path that you were looking towards, or were there other things about you as a person that you were like, hey, like I want to pursue this, or what steered you towards barbering?
Honestly, bro, when I was growing up, I always thought like being a detective was kind of cool.
Oh, a detective?
I love, murder mystery shows. I love, it's more of like, why do people do this? Why do people act out like this, right? So that was what I was more intrigued to. But as I grew up, and my life started changing here in the U.S., I started going to a different path. So that path, basically, I left that thought out, and I decided to start cutting hair or learn how to cut hair on my own, because here in Utah, back in the day, there was no barbershops out there. It's out here. And if there was, it wasn't for no ethnic people. There wasn't for Latino people like that. So you would come out all messed up every single time. So I just picked up a pair of clippers that I found and started cutting my hair.
Absolutely. So I noticed that you had mentioned the U.S. and stated Latino folks. We want to know a little bit about your background and where do you come from? Like, where's your lands and what brings you here to the U.S. ultimately?
So I'm from South America, Venezuela, specifically Maracaibo, Zulia. And I feel like the reason why my family came out here, or the reason why I was sent out here in a way, it was because how the country was doing, how the government was treating us, the people over there. And my father and my mom, my auntie, my grandpa, they all thought that it was the best choice for me and my family to start moving out here to the U.S.
Right. From the looks of it and how things are moving now, it sounds like you got to let go to grow, and you had to let go of a lot of stuff just to be here. But in turn, you are who you are now. But do you think it was worth it to, be where you are now with this barbershop and have the opportunities you have here in the United States?
The opportunities here in the United States, there's definitely a blessing. I love the United States. I love where I'm from. Don't get me wrong. I love where I'm from. But I definitely feel that where I'm from, it definitely holds you back to a certain point. But I am a person who hustles. I am a person who always tries to get what he wants, whatever situation he's in, whether it's a good one or whether it's a bad one. I always try to go forward and meet my own personal goals. It does take a lot of sacrifice. It takes a lot of sacrifice to go to a whole different country and being so young and being away from your family and from your parents and try to understand a whole new culture and adapt to a new culture.
So I want to steer a little bit into more of a different style of thought, right? When it comes down to the temptations of life, of having certain type of capital or money, I know a lot of people seem to be tempted by life's pleasures. Are you one of those type of people, or if other people around do go through temptations, what is one piece of advice that you could give someone?
Well, I feel like everybody has temptations, and I feel like everybody has a want, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think, because a temptation could be, oh, I want to go buy this car, right? And let's say you make good money, right? Let's say you make $120,000 a year. The car that you want is $40,000, right? Right. Well, can you go buy that car twice in the same day and you be fine?
That's true.
Right? If most likely it's a no, then you don't need to buy that car. You can go ahead and buy a car that's $10,000, and then in a year or 2 years, be able to buy that $40,000 car, right? So I don't think there's anything wrong with wants, because that's what drives you, right? It drives you. It's like, I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to be my own entrepreneur. Okay, well, when I get to a certain point in my barbering career, I want to own a barbershop, right? So that's a want, right? But there's different levels to those wants, and that becomes a priority. So what's a priority to you? Is it a pair of sneakers that cost $300, or is it, hey, I have to go pay the bills of the barbershop, and that's what makes me money, and that's what feeds my family,
nice.
Right?
Absolutely. See, that's responsibility. That's prioritization on the path that you want to be and where you align. And so that's inspirational to hear, even for somebody young And like myself coming up, especially with the world full of chaos and media and distractions, it's keyword separating your wants from your needs. And that's the thing where I'm starting to realize it's like, it's not what I have, it's who I am.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not gonna lie to you, when I started getting into some pretty good amount of money, I was always switching cars. You know, I mean, you remember?
Yeah,
you know, I would always switch cars, Cadillac, the Mercedes, Evo. I had a bike. It just
the motorcycle.
It all depends of, you know, people always try to live without their means, or outside of their means, right? Let's say it again, outside of their means, which means you make a certain amount of money, but you're trying to live outside of that budget that you have every single day, right? And all you do is you're trying to catch up. So if you're smart enough, and you know, I say if you're smart enough is when you're at the age of 22, 23, and you can get ahead of the game and think about what you want to do when you're 35, but start doing it when you're 22, 23, 24, right? Because when you're at 25, you're already going to be so much ahead of the game, right? Because they say that the average male doesn't know what he wants in life or wants to do with his life until he gets to the age of 34, 35 years old. That's when an average male becomes into his prime.
Absolutely. Do you think that has something to do with just the new generation, or just like how they're being raised? Or, you know, I know that millennials and older generations have a different type of mentality when I notice Gen Z or Gen A, I believe. So my question is, what do you think is that difference between the older generation and the younger generation?
I feel like I'm a millennial, right? So I feel like the Gen Z, which is your era, right? You're kind of stuck in the middle in a way.
No, you're more stuck in the middle.
No, because I was there. I was born in 1993, so I was there when phones started coming out,
and when they weren't around. So you'd be more stuck in the middle. I was born like right. I had a little. We still played outside. We still played outside, and that shows that our generation still had that, right? So when was that line, or what was that thing that caused that I feel separation?
Like, if I'm being honest with you, one of the reasons why I feel like Gen Z is the way that they are is because they don't have structure in their life, right? So structure, which means they don't have both parents, right? They don't have a single household. So that means that their parents are split up, living in two different houses, right? So one parent has these set of rules, the other parent has a different set of rules, right? So it becomes harder for the kids to have a stabilization in their life, right? And to have morals. I feel like the way that the country is and the way that the world is right now, you know, parents don't get a chance to spend so much time with their kids anymore because life is so expensive, right? We're just worried about making money, how to be able to pay the bills at the end of the month or in the beginning of the month, right? So I feel like we as parents, we try to give the best to our kids and also try to teach them the best values that we can. But if there's no structure at home, I don't see how people can come out of that lifestyle that they're living right now as a Gen Z.
For sure. And I agree with you. I believe there's not enough structure because structure offers guidance and a path to follow. And I notice even people and folks within my generation, they don't have that guidance or that structure that allows them to grow and be focused. I think it's a matter of like cognition, like cognitive thinking, like being able to think. Like a lot of us struggle with like that ability to think and even stay focused. And
yeah, I feel like nobody can stay focused nowadays because everything that's going around the world. Not just that, but you know, when you have to worry about, oh, okay, my mom's working, she's a single mom, or you're a single dad, you know, the parents don't want to stress out the kids ever, right? But you don't think the kids feel that stress of their parents?
And they definitely do.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They feel that stress, and you, because you love your mom or you love your dad, you're like, damn, my mom is going through this, my dad's going through this, my sister's going through this, right? So all that stress build up, like, you know, parents do bring it to the kids in some type of form.
What types of forms do you think most parents are, you know, manifesting those actions, emotions, thoughts that they don't seem to notice?
It's not, I don't think that parents are not going through emotions. I definitely feel like they go through their emotions. I mean, they just go through it in their own way, right?
Right.
But I feel like they don't have time to process those emotions or process thought to, you know, to think about those emotions, because they're so worried about, oh, how am I gonna pay this month's rent? How am I gonna pay this month's mortgage? Right? So their thought process is not like, oh yeah, I'm gonna sit down and cry and go through my feelings. Their thought process is, oh, I'm gonna put this in the back of my head because tomorrow morning I gotta get up and make the same move that I had to make today, or even a better move, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's something to think about, especially as a parent. What that structure, I think everybody deserves structure too, but figuring out what makes a good parent really, and what type of parent style one is choosing to be. To you, what makes a good parent? Like, what makes a father or a mother? Well, you as a father, like, what makes you feel like a fulfilled father having a daughter and a business owner in this world?
I mean, for me, what fills me up as a father is my daughter knowing that she can call me or be able to rely on me for anything that she goes through in life. Not only financially, but for her happiness, for her loneliness, whatever she goes through in life is, you know, and there's hard times because sometimes the kids feel like, oh yeah, I can't talk to my dad about certain things, right? Or I can't talk to my mom about certain things.
But you don't want to be that father.
But you don't want to be that father, because you want your kids to be able to talk to you about everything, even if they're wrong and they know they're wrong. You know, they don't. You gotta be there for them, regardless of the situation.
With that being said, in this world full of social media, not everything can be. I mean, well, at the end of the day, everything is a distraction. But is it a good or a bad distraction? Can you be, you know, having good distractions? But with that being said, what do you think social media has done to society?
I think, you know, the internet alone, I think is a good thing for society. But anything that's excessive when it comes like social media, or anything that comes where it influences the public, I think is bad. Because everybody focuses on, like, you know, social media, right? So when you watch social media, what are you watching?
Normally, typically, news, TikToks.
Okay, you talk about news, right? Is news? Does news tell the truth every single time?
I wouldn't be able to tell you, but I talked to my brother who does trading and stocks, and he says that they'll lie in the news to have certain markets go up or down.
No, they do that, right? So the news is gonna tell you what they want to hear. Why? What you want to hear. Why? Because they get paid by ratings. How many people, right? How many people are watching the news? How many people is hearing what they're saying, right? What travels faster? Good news or bad news?
Bad news. Negativity be selling.
Negativity be selling, right? So, what do you think is gonna go in your head?
Negativity.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
A lot of kids nowadays, or even adults like me, I'm 32 years old. You get caught up in that, oh, I want a nicer car, or I want, you know, this type of person in my life, or I want, you know, I want to be famous, or I want to be an influencer, right? But it doesn't tell you what comes behind it, right? People don't talk about what's the good and bad about being an influencer or being on social media. To me personally, I was really into social media about 5 years ago, and man, wherever I went, it was social media, right? Posting going out, posting my food, girls, everything was on social media, right? Man, and I got so tired of it that I just didn't care. I didn't progress anymore on it. Right? I felt like social media was just making fake people all the time. Because, you know, people post what you want to see, but they don't post the truth of their life. They don't post the truth of what's going on.
Absolutely.
Right? So, to me, social media, if I didn't have to have it as a business owner, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But because I am a business owner, I have to have it. Because now it's not, you know, back then, you know, nobody used social media like that. So it was still only word of mouth, right? And when you come to market, it was only word of mouth. Now it's like, you know, you gotta post, you gotta do this. How many views you get? Okay, you get 10,000 views. Okay, next video I need 15,000 views, right? So it becomes something like, it becomes a whole nother world. It feels like
it is a different world. It literally is, but it's fake though if you really think about it. Unless like you're putting your whole life on it. But at the end of the day, it's just a world through the phone. A lot of times, like you said, it's like people aren't really posting their real lives on there. Do people really even have enough courage to do that? Because I know a lot of us go through ups and downs, and I notice not everybody even shows that. Is that even something that like should be shown? Do we want to see that, like ups and downs or the negatives?
Yeah, because that's life. Life ain't perfect, right? So life is never perfect. You know, one day you can have it all, and then the next second you can have nothing. So if you live in a lifestyle, right? Let's say like social media influencers, right? They're always showing how happy they are and what they have and the trips they take and the food that they eat and how expensive this is and how expensive that is. But are they talking about, oh, when I go and look at my social media and I read the hate comments and I read the bad comments, are they talking about how that makes them feel inside? You get what I'm saying? Right. Or are they talking about how this brand deal dropped them off because they're not willing to go against the grain with something else?
That's facts.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they show you what you want to see, right? But me, I want to see the real. I want to see the real, the good, the bad, because I feel like that's what life is. I feel like I'm a very realistic person.
You definitely are. Do you think the world is steering closer to like real, or is it getting worse? Is it getting more fake, or do you think sometime in the future people are gonna be like, they're gonna snap out of the let's say?
How can people see the world if it's getting real, if everything that's getting posted is fake? Right? You're putting a blind, it's like you're putting a cover on what's really going on in the world.
Right. I remember seeing the movie, what you gonna call it, The Wizard of Oz, and they had a scene where there's like this big bad guy, but when they released the covers, it was just some dude in the back projecting something. I'm not sure if you've seen that scene.
Yeah, I've seen it.
I think that's what the world is going through. My question is like, do you think eventually people are gonna snap out of the spell, or do you think this is just gonna get more cooked?
I feel unless people start taking over their lives and, you know, follow who they want to follow when it comes down to religion. And, you know, I'm not very like a person that follows religion, but I do believe what I believe, and I'm very truthful to myself. Unless people start being truthful with themselves and talk about the real things that goes on in life, I don't think it's ever gonna change. I think it's gonna get worse. But I feel like by the time they realize it, it's gonna be too late.
That's the scary part, though.
It's scary, bro, because
that's the scary part, because especially me as a youth, I would love to, you know, grow and attempt life and genuinely have a family. Like, I'm young and all, but I'm going through the struggle, but I want that. Like, I want to build a life, family, take vacation, take trips. But with everything going on in the world, it's like, will I get to live that?
it's scary.
And I think it's crazy how I even have to think about that.
It's scary. Like, you know, I had my daughter, well, me and the mother of my daughter, we had Mariana when I was barely turned 17. Her mother was already 18. And people ask me, like, how'd you do it? I was like, I don't think it was, financially, I don't think it was hard. But seeing what the world has to offer to your kid or society, right? That's what's scary to me.
For sure.
You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not scared for my kid right now because I know my kid has me, right?
Yeah.
And she has her mom and our family. But what about my grandkids or her grandkids?
Yeah, the bloodline.
You know, like what's in store for them if the world is like this now?
Right. That inspires me to make a change. We try to, but how can we make the change? You had said like being able to take over our lives, but I believe that education is power, and people aren't being educated.
Well, education is power. I do believe that there is certain jobs that you need education for. But what's the point of? And this is where it goes, right? Like you want to be a teacher, right? Or you want to be a paralegal, right? You don't have the money, so you start at a community college, right? 2-3 years goes by, you're already $60,000 in debt.
Yeah, $60 is crazy.
And then, okay, well, I want to go to the big university, right? And then you're gonna be there for another 2-3 years, depending on what diploma you want to get, what degree you want to get. You want to get a master's, you want to get a bachelor, right? Once you leave that and you go find a job, you're in debt. $100,000, right?
So now you're working for it.
So now you're working to pay that debt off, but the jobs are not paying that much either. So you get what I'm saying. You get stuck in the system. I'm not saying that going to school is bad,
Right.
but I definitely feel like if you're gonna go to school, if you're gonna go to college,
Make it make sense.
definitely like a doctor or a lawyer, where you can go anywhere in the world and use that, right?
Right.
It's like me cutting your hair. I can go to Africa and cut hair. I can go to Colombia, cut hair. I can go to Japan and cut hair, right? It's a trait. I have a trait. This is my trait, right? It's like a welder. A welder can go and weld everywhere. You get what I'm saying? So I definitely feel like, you know, how the world is turning. Yeah. So I think, like, you know, do I think that you definitely got to go to school to become a millionaire or to have hundreds of thousands? No, I don't. It's been proven with many different entrepreneurs that do it, right? But I feel like if you're gonna go to school, definitely choose the right subject and the right career. Because in all reality, 80% of people that go to school and choose a career, when they come out of school, they don't do what they went to school for.
Yeah, that's true. There's tons of people who get that opportunity, but they don't have the money or the opportunity in that field.
You know, and I feel like school costs is too much.
Why is it so much?
If school costs is too much and teachers are underpaid. So when I honestly believe that when a teacher decides to be a teacher, like she wants to go to school to learn how to teach, they have that in their heart. But by the time they're in it 10 years and they're not making nothing, you think they're gonna keep up with that same love in their heart? No. You wanna know why? Because they got family to take care of. They got kids to take care of too. So not only they gotta learn, they gotta learn how to teach society and students for our benefits, right? But they still have to worry about their everyday life. So how is that fair? I think they should keep the teachers happy, so they're happy to teach. They're happy to go beyond what they need to, because, you know, you get a career, you get a book, right? And that book teaches you, okay, well, in this semester we got to go through all of this, right? Okay, well, do you want the teacher to go just through that and be like a notebook? Okay, I hit every subject, I'm done. Or you want her to go beyond?
No, she wants to go beyond.
Exactly.
That's the idea, and that's where the system is lacking, especially in education. Because when the system, for example, like not being paid enough goes into effect, that means that there's parents, there's family members that aren't being paid enough, and that lacks in the household, and that falls onto the kids, and now they're not being taught house knowledge, which is like morals, principles. They're not being taught how to be, you know, decent human beings, and then that translates into society. On the other hand, there's teachers that aren't being paid enough, so there's certain lacks that are going on in the classroom. So now the household and the classrooms are lacking in education in turn.
Well, that's what I think. Like, you know, I feel like back then when I got my first apartment, I was able to afford it at that age, right? But then how everything costs so much nowadays, it's kind of hard to have a man just take care of the house and have his wife take care of the kids and raise their kids. Right?
This is a country, this is a team sport.
It really is, bro. Like back then, I get it. You know, back then you can get a 2-3 bedroom apartment back in 2005 for $900.
$900?
Yeah, bro. It was cheap back then. Like the houses out here in Utah on the east side, which is the pricey side, those houses over there were only going for 300, 400K, and people thought that was a lot. When houses in the city, right, and your middle class were going for 100, 150, 170, and people thought those were a lot. Now you go to the east side, those houses are worth millions, and you have a middle class house that's built in the 1940s going for 500K.
That's insane.
So that takes the dreams out of the new generation, and even including millennials like me. It's kind of like, damn, like I gotta do the most or have a side business or side hustle to be able to just support, right? Just to be able to take care of my family, try to take care of my family, right? So you think that when you see your parents working that hard, busting their asses every single day, every single night, you think you as a child, you're gonna go to your dad and be like, hey dad, when I graduate, I want to go to college, and I'm gonna need help paying for college.
And then you're already going through,
right? And it could be like, yeah, if you have a straight 4.0, 3.0, and you might get a grant, that's cool, but then you got to pay back for that stuff too, right?
Yeah.
So how are you be able to move forward and not hurt yourself in the long run?
the system is set
I
up.
honestly feel like the system is there to have you to have stabilization in society, but it's also created to hold you down to a certain point.
Right, because how is school system going to cost that much, and then there's that whole loophole rat race going on. There's a lot of stuff that happens in this world, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, bro, that's wild out here.
But I also feel like the world has taken, like, you can't have your own opinion nowadays.
Yeah, you really can't, because you be feeling the type, people don't know how to like respect each other's thoughts, boundaries, and always try to put what they got going on other people.
Yep.
And you can't be you. People get attacked for being themselves, or if they're an opposing thought. It's like a divide and conquer tactic that they put into the people.
They really do. They don't want you to be together. Look, if all of us in society, right, become one, how can the higher power go against us? If everybody in the world become one and united, right? Don't matter how much money you make, don't matter the race that you are, don't matter none of that, and become one. You think the higher power can keep us down? No, right?
I mean, they have that saying, if we all stop working for a day.
They make you choose sides.
Yeah. That's where they get you, where it's like, okay. And if they want, they have a smart game plan. They really do. But I think if we really unite and all get on the same page, at least a group of us, and really educate, it can,
It can't be a group of us. It has to be
all of us.
All of us.
Right.
Because you got to remember that they have the technology to put whatever they want on the news, whatever they want on anywhere, right? So if they have that much power, it can't just be a group. It's been, like the Black Panthers. That's a group. They tried it, and they only got so far.
Why did they only get so far?
The laws that they put, the beliefs that other people want to believe. So why is there over 3,000 different religions in this world?
That's true.
If supposedly we all come from one.
That's true. I think that people try to escape like the system and everything. I came to the conclusion the only way out is going inside and just knowing yourself and knowing your path, building your own structure, and just being a successful person for yourself, and you know, having your real.
And what did I say earlier in this conversation?
You need structure.
You need structure. You need to put the realness out there.
You need to put the realness.
You need to be yourself.
And be yourself.
Right. People ain't themselves.
People aren't being themselves.
People don't have structure. Damn, look at your hair. That shit's fresh.
I know, like that looks fire. That's why I need a hair tie. So before we wrap this up, Gordo, what's your final thoughts? Anything that you want to let the people know? Where can we find you?
I am based in Salt Lake City, Utah. And we are off of 3900 South and 124 East, Mill Creek, Utah, 84107. And we take walk-ins and appointments Tuesday through Saturday.
Hey, you heard
My
it here
final
first.
thought is, stay woke, stay true to yourself no matter what, and just keep grinding until you meet your goal.
Hey, you heard it here. Stay chosen.